Hi, my name is Sola, and you're listening to Heartland, a fan podcast from a fan perspective. Welcome back to the podcast. This week, I will have a guest joining me. We'll talk about the Calgary International Film Festival, which had this Heartland event when the season 17 premiered. I mentioned it back then briefly, but I felt like it would make a good whole episode later on, and that moment is now. I didn't really talk about it in the moment because I felt like I didn't really have much to give because I didn't went there. But now I have someone joining me who actually went there and can share their experience with us. So please welcome Jenna. Welcome back to the podcast, Jenna. Obviously, I've been wanting to have you back for a long time now. We haven't really been able to find a good spot, but when I saw that you would attend the Calgary International Film Festival this year for the season 17 premiere event, I was like, oh, we have to talk about that. So thanks for coming and, sharing this experience with the rest of us who couldn't make it.
I appreciate you having me back. I've been wanting to come back.
I don't remember if we've talked about this the last few times you've been on, but have you attended any of the previous Heartland events?
I met Amber in 2013 at a Christmas expo here in Edmonton.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other film festival for the season 10 premiere, I also attended.
Oh, right, yeah.
And then I met Sean earlier this year in April, some kind of horse expo, I think.
Yeah, something like that. Who can keep up with these events? Because,
they're all named funny things.
Yeah, it's a horse expo, super royal horse event, and you're like,
something like that.
Yeah. So when they announced this event where you're like, oh, I have to go, like, did you decide that right away, or did it take a little time to be like,
A couple friends had sent me stuff about them, like about the premiere, like the episode and stuff, and then Aiden talked about it on TikTok Live, and right away I went on to Ticketmaster, looked up at the tickets, and then I told my sister, I was like, call your friend who we went with, because it was me, my sister, and her friend who had never been to High River, and I was like, see if she wants to come, because I don't drive, my sister doesn't drive.
right?
So I was like, we need somebody to come with us, and I bought the tickets right away. Getting the tickets was really easy. The only thing was the price I bought the tickets at and the price that the tickets dropped down to was drastically different.
Yeah, I noticed that, and I was like wondering because I think I remember you saying that you were gonna go like pretty soon after it was announced, and then obviously I was sort of keeping an eye on the event, like how many tickets have been sold, and the price had dropped, and I was like, what? Like, I would feel a little cheated on, like if I would have bought it with the higher price and then suddenly it's like half of that, or I don't remember what it ended up being, but like
it was, I think, just under half of what
yeah.
I paid. But I will say I sat closer than some of the cast and crew. I was in the second row, right?
So did it assign the seats automatically, or did you get to? Yeah. Okay.
It came up as a map. I don't know if you've ever used Ticketmaster before.
No, we have like a different thing in Finland.
Okay.
So
So it comes up with like a map, and then you can switch to like seats. So I switched it to seats, and I just clicked whichever was the best available because it gives you that option. And I had a pretty good seat. The only thing I think if I would have done it again, I would have maybe sat like a 1 or 2 rows back, just because the screen was huge.
Yeah, you're like,
I was straining my neck. Yeah.
Like, what's happening on the left corner? What's happening on the right corner? Yeah. Do you think that sitting behind the cast sort of make up for a little bit about the price thing, or?
Yeah, we sat with Michelle Morgan. Like, she was like one seat over from us.
Did you spot her right away? Like, that's
because
Michelle?
we had met each other earlier that day and just like I had asked for a picture and whatnot. And she was like, "Oh, because you know I like talking to people. I can't just
Yeah.
not be quiet, right?" So I was in the midst of everything, and my sister seen them coming outside, walking Spartan into the red carpet, and she was like pointing because I was in between both glass doors. So I went out there and we were standing there talking, and I was like, "Oh, like Michelle, can I get a picture?" And then I had been standing with an older lady, Joyce. She's
Mhm.
like, "Oh, just call me Grandma Joyce." And apparently she's been to a lot of events. Like, she was really sweet. I was like to my sister and her friend, I was like, "Go get that lady I was standing with. She's wearing a pink coat." And they brought her out, and she had this like little camera, and I was like, Chris, like come here, because that's the only one she wanted to take a picture with. So
Yeah.
he came and took a picture with her and us, and then like Michelle came over, and we had talked to her a few times. And then when we got into the building, like they walked the red carpet and whatnot, and then they're like, "Oh, please make your way for the seats." So we all sat, and then yeah, Michelle came, and she like turned around, she was like, "Oh, you guys," and it was just
That's
fun.
nice.
And
Yeah.
for a long time, like they did their speeches and whatnot ahead of the episode. The seats in front of us were empty, and then right before the episode started, Michael Weinberg sat in front of me, so his shining bald head was in my view the whole time. And then one of Michelle's friends that she had invited had came later, and they sat with us too, which was nice. And
So,
she had offered to take a picture with us, and I was like, "We're okay. We already got one."
so you said you met Michelle and Chris. Did you meet others while you
I
were
met
going in,
Michelle,
or?
Chris. I talked to Sean. I met him earlier this year, right? So I didn't want to be like, "Chris, can we take a picture with Sean?" Because they were standing together.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've met Amber previously, but I still took a picture with her, just a quick little picture. And then we met after the like end of the event. We met Bay and Ava
So pretty
because they
nice
were standing
score.
around taking pictures. Yeah,
So
and Spartan. Don't forget.
yeah, oh, of course. Do you think it was easy to sort of get their attention or ask for a picture, or were you like starstruck or?
I think I'm kind of like I like to I can't just not say anything, right? Like I'm like, "Oh, like I what started the conversation with Michelle, I had said, "Oh, like Michelle, I love your dress," because she was wearing this really pretty dress.
Yeah,
And then they were taking pictures, and Sean has his full beard right now, right?
yeah.
So I was like, "Sean, you look scruffy," and he had a laugh. And then Michelle was like, "Oh, I love this girl." And then they started to walk in, and I kind of had said like, "Oh, can I take a picture?" And that's how it started. And with Amber, I caught her when she was going back to the red carpet, and her mom and her husband were there. So I was like, "Oh, Amber, can I just take a quick pic?" And she was like, "For sure," because she had been taking pictures outside. I did have the opportunity to meet Graham Mortal. I asked my sister if she wanted to, and she said no, and I said okay.
Yeah, because it wasn't announced that he was going to be there or anything. So it
He just
was,
showed up.
yeah, it was a surprise for everyone, attending, I think. Was there anything that surprised you other than Graham attending about the event, or was
Mm,
it just like what you pictured the event would be like?
compared to the one that I went to for season 10, it was a bigger place that they showed the episode in. And the stuff like the red carpet was inside the building, but like right away when you walked in, it was like, "Oh, they'll come out eventually. Like you can go sit in your seat if you want, or like wait around." Like they didn't really have set times for things, and I kind of thought that was strange. And same like they didn't check I had my ticket or anything until I was already like in the venue.
Strange.
Like
I
you
don't
think they'd
remember
check it at the
if,
door.
yeah, I don't remember how it went in season 10 event.
They checked at the door after, like, because they had Spartan, and then they had like you could walk into the
Right.
building, into the
Yeah.
theater. Yeah.
So what were your favorite parts of the event?
The event itself, I mean, I liked meeting Michelle. Like she's one of the cast members I had never met before,
Mhm.
because now I've met all like the four main cast members. I met a lot of people that were like, also there for the event that were really nice. Like people that had flown from like Arizona and different places in the States. And I'm like, you just dropped everything to come like 2 weeks in advance. And they're like, yeah. They're like, we're gonna check out the mountains and stuff over here. And I was like, that's cool.
Because wasn't the event announced way closer to the actual date than the
Yeah.
season 10 premiere? Because I recall like getting the tickets and being like, oh my gosh, like there's so much to plan and all this time, and I'm getting nervous and everything. And now I just felt like they were, oh yeah, by the way, like we have this event, and
I think it was like honestly 2 or 3 weeks.
yeah, did it really like I'm surprised so many people from, other countries were able to attend because it was like wasn't it like Thursday or something?
It was a Thursday, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like you really have to plan your trip ahead, and it's not
Hmm.
like you can just drop by after work or something.
And it also they didn't promote it as much as the season 10 one, I don't think. Like I feel like because it was so last minute, they just were like, "Oh, this event's happening if you guys want to come." Like I feel like this year, especially the Heartland social medias just haven't been the same.
Yeah, because it's like a big deal. This is like a big event, and having this many episodes and, have this,
250th.
yeah, and 17
Like
seasons, like that's a big deal. So I was surprised about that too, like, because I remember the season 10 event, like it was a big deal. Like it felt very different, and I don't
mhm.
really know why.
Not that I disliked a lot of things, but in the same like what did I enjoy? I didn't like how they had where they had Spartan, like he was just in the background of like the mailbox, the sign, like stuff like that, right? Like in this tiny little pen. Ty's truck was off to the side too. Like it was just kind of funny.
Was he there the whole time the red carpet was happening, or like the
He
beginning of
walked
the?
the red carpet first. Like Amber and Sean brought him in, and then he was like only there for probably 5 minutes, and then they took him back out. Amber took him out and put him back where he was, and then the handlers must have put him back into the trailer that they had brought him in.
Yeah, because I think I remember when the season 10 event was happening, it was sort of like bring him in, take a few pictures, and take him out, which
Yeah.
to me seemed like okay for, obviously it was outside too, so it wasn't that hectic, I would say, because they actually brought him in this time. So
Hmm.
I was like worried because it's a wild animal after all.
This is controversial. I don't think it was the same horse
Oh, because I was wondering.
because like the height difference, and I've looked at the pictures that I took like with Spartan in season 10 and then this horse. They don't look the same. There's
So
like different markings they have and stuff.
they were like, any black horse will do, like,
Unfortunately, yeah.
yeah.
And another thing that I think that could have been changed or that I didn't like as much, the guy that asked them the questions after, like
Mm.
the interview, I don't know who he was. I don't know where he got any of the questions he had asked. Like, and it seemed like he didn't know anything about the show. He just was like, I don't know. He seemed rushed in asking the questions, and like he skipped over Chris a couple different times, and I'm just like, who is this guy?
Yeah, because in the season 10 event, they actually asked us to submit questions when we went in, and they
They
actually
gave us
asked
those
those.
little cards, right?
Yeah, they actually asked those questions. So it's like a question from the fans. So, it's kind of like relevant to what they want to know.
I will say it is hard asking questions though. Like, say if you go to an event or like a meet and greet for somebody, like I've recently went to a few and I'm like, I don't know what to ask.
Mm.
Like, it's hard.
Yeah, because it's like on some level, you know a lot of things already, but at the same time, it's like, well, now I have the opportunity to ask something, and then you just like blank.
Well, and you don't want to ask the same questions as somebody else, right? You're like, oh, I want to
Yeah.
be original.
So if they were to do a new event, what do you think that could be like?
I feel like if they were gonna do an event in the future, one that I would like to see, it probably wouldn't happen, but I'd like to see them open Maggie's and have an event there. I know previously they have had it open for like in 2013 when the flood happened and stuff, right?
Mm.
I mean, it sits there vacant other than when they're using it.
It doesn't have the kitchen or anything, but it's just like you could have people still look at the details and just have that like, oh, I'm sitting at Maggie's and I'm imagining I'm eating fries or something.
or like, you know, bring in a food vendor or something and be
Mm,
like, oh, the profit they'd make from doing that. Not that I'm saying that's what they do these events for, but
yeah.
they could
Yeah.
make a lot of money.
Yeah.
And another one I've thought about this recently. If Heartland is to end at whatever season, right? Like season 20 or
Yeah.
whatever, maybe they could do like a farewell event, like Heartland through the seasons, like bring some of the old cast members back for this event,
Yeah, that
stuff
would
like
be
that.
fun.
And I know recently, I don't know if you know the show Riverdale.
Yeah.
They like it ended after 7 seasons or something. They auctioned off a lot of the clothes and the items.
Oh,
I
nice.
maybe Heartland could do something like that.
Yeah, because there's a lot of things like little props or just anything.
There's a few things I'd love to own from the show.
Care to share, or is that
I
you?
like this stained glass window. I love stained glass,
Oh,
so I've
yeah.
always been like, or there was something else I thought in the barn, but I can't remember. If you
Maybe
could
if
own
they
something, what would it be?
that class thing would be a nice thing. I think, I haven't really thought about this. Maybe one of the green mugs because they're so iconic. I don't know if they still have them actually.
I think so. I think in one of those episodes this season, Tim opened the cabinet and they were up on the shelf or something.
Yeah. So I don't know how much of the episode you were able to see through Weinberg's head, but
Shiny head.
yeah. But what was the experience like? Like, was the audience like wooing or like gasping or whatever? Like, and you had the cast and crew there as well. So,
There was like, well, first of all, the new rendition of Dreamer was really good. Like, I was blown away. I was like, honestly, this could have been like the episode that ends the show. Like, it just felt like a almost a conclusion in a way. Like,
mm,
everything was kind of just happy and whatnot. Like, at the end, we see Amy and Lou, you know, laying by the pond together. Like, it was just kind of a sweet moment. I liked the part where it was Lou and Rick. Like, those scenes were also, I felt, very well shot and they looked beautiful on the big screen. Like, I don't know, sometimes I watch Heartland on my laptop and it's just small. Sometimes I watch on the TV upstairs. Like, it all depends, right? But the big screen, it was like, whew, perfect.
yeah, and I think visually the first episode was really beautiful. So it's like the experience is very like different than just, looking at your phone and being like, oh, there's those tiny little characters. And then,
It was
yeah,
almost like this season. I don't know if it's because of who's been directing or what, but there's a lot of cinematic scenes, like, you know, like little flashes of like farm equipment or stuff that we haven't seen before. Whereas I feel like previous seasons they'd reuse clips like, you know, oh, here's a shot of the fence post in the winter or like stuff like that.
yeah, I've noticed that as well. Like the transition videos, you have like little details of the nature, or I don't know, like it really brings the whole world alive. So after the event, I believe you had other Heartland related adventures.
Yeah, but the day before, because we arrived, I worked Tuesday night and then we drove. It's about 5 hours from where I live. We drove to Amber's store. And so we checked it out just because it was closed the next day or something. Probably maybe because of the event or something. I will say her store's nice, but it's in a funny location, like Turner Valley or whatever it is called now. Like some of the stores there are very run down, and then here's this shiny brand new store with all these lights and
Yeah, so this was your first time going there.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
it carried a lot of stuff that wasn't what I would have expected. Like there was a lot of men's clothes and jewelry and stuff like that. There wasn't a lot of Amber's stuff, but I mean, I'm sure it's hard to keep it in stock because you can order online, I believe. They did have, I bought a hat and a sweater. My sister bought a shirt that just said Marshall's Country Store on it because it was on the sales rack. Same with the sweater I bought. And then I bought a hat that was signed like one of Amber's hats because I've been on a hat kick it lately. She had like one shirt of hers and then Graham Wardle's book.
And if I remember correctly, didn't you also go to High River as well?
Yeah,
And
we stayed in High River.
oh, right, yeah.
We went to the museum and it the Heartland exhibit has shrunk since the last time I was there.
So
Like
what's there?
they have like the dress that she wears when they go to the dance, Ty's outfit from that, which I haven't watched that episode recently. enough that I can remember being like, oh, Ty wore a pink tie, or so I was like,
Yeah.
okay, there's just some man's clothes.
Yeah, because there are a lot of other clothes they could have picked.
Well, previously, because I've been to the museum 3 times now,
Mm.
they had like one of Amy's shirts and pair of pants, like pair of boots, and then Ty's like leather jacket, a shirt with a donkey on it, and some stuff.
Yeah, the ties,
School shirt
whatever the shirt was. Yeah, yeah, that was there. And
from vet
wasn't
school or something.
his jacket as well or something, and Amy's boots and Maggie's
And he had a pair of
uniform and
boots. There, the Maggie's uniform was still there. Miracle Girl saddle was gone. I was surprised. So I don't know if it comes up in this season or something.
yeah, didn't they use that in the first episode or was that last season? Oh my gosh, that time goes by so fast. Because Lindy was reading the was that last season?
Well, I I do know what you're talking about, but I can't
Yeah,
remember because she steps out of the truck and is
that
like,
I think that's last season because
I think so too.
yeah. But it's interesting that they brunk it because it's like one of the biggest things that brings people to High River.
And I think they still had like the dollhouse they make for Katie,
Mm.
but like it was squished in the same display case as like the drawing of the wedding and like piece of the script they have from the wedding, like Amy and Ty's wedding. Because we have about 100 weddings on the show. I gotta differentiate.
Did they still have the trivia thing?
I did. I brought one home and I thought I put it in here, but it wasn't any different. I don't think they haven't updated it yet.
I remember doing it, and I also remember Izzy talking about it. So
Another thing at the museum, they you know how they used to have like ornaments and like hats and all that kind of thing. They didn't have any of that. They had like a different little leather keychain and something else. Maybe like a star-shaped ornament, like it was cheaply made, not like the metal one that I bought previously.
I
So I don't
wonder,
know if it just ran out or
yeah, or the CBC store has sort of put them out of like
commission like doing it.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. But that's interesting because I remember when we went, it was one of the highlights of, going to High River. So that's really sad that they've kind of made it not so cool anymore.
When we were in High River too, we went to Olive and Finch, the store beside Maggie's, and they
Mm.
had some Heartland stuff. So I bought a mug that said Maggie's and a few other things. And then we went to Walker's Western Wear, and I bought a koozie for like a can, and then a little keychain with Caleb on it. Like
Really?
stuff that they probably aren't licensed to sell, but
Yeah.
because it's High River, they're like, ah, who's gonna catch us?
Yeah, yeah. But that's kind of funny that they had a Caleb one or
Yeah, I was like, this is the last one. I'm taking it home. So my sister's friend, she had never been to High River, so we did show her like the church where Lou and Peter get married. We went to where the ranch was. We went to Maggie's, and then we were walking along, beside Maggie's, and I was like, Jessica Cook gallery. And
yeah,
I was like,
so
I better
you
take this
knew
pic.
what was coming. Yeah. That's really nice that you kind of were able to see new things, even though you've, been to some of those locations before, but it's still sort of fresh in a way as well.
Another thing is when we were in the hotel the one morning, I think it was the Thursday morning because we stayed Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I opened the blinds and there was a few hot air balloons in the sky
Mm,
because in High River they do the hot air balloons 3 weekends in a row. So that was something I had never seen while I was there.
that's really nice. So, where can people find you if they want to follow your posts or your life or whatever? Like,
My Instagram, my Heartland one is, let me just make sure it's the right handle before I say what it is.
yeah, I can include that in the description of this video as well. So,
It is Canadian underscore Heartland underscore fan page.
thanks for doing this. It was fun to hear what the event was like because you can only get tiny amount of information through the pictures and all that or videos they posted, but it's a different thing to have it from a fan perspective, and that's what this podcast is all about anyway. So
I appreciate you having me. It's always fun. it kind of drastically different though without Izzy, because last
Yeah,
time it was
because
all of us,
maybe
laughing
she
about
brought the
some.
chaos with her. Now that I think about it, like this is very calm and collected and everything. Thanks again, Jenna, for joining me. I hope you like this episode. And before we actually close in for this year, there's still one more episode to go. But because of the date of this episode, I just want to wish everyone happy holidays and I hope you stay safe and have a lovely time. I'll see you in the next episode. Till then, keep your noses clean and your powder dry, as they say. Bye.